you wanna be crypto savvy, we can help you skip those valleys. Let's rally, yeah. If you wanna be crypto savvy,
good morning, welcome back, and appreciate you joining us here at Be Crypto Savvy. Today we are going to be jumping into the range report provided by our partners over at the Genie.io team. First things first, however, we will be starting out with Bitcoin on the daily time frame here within TradingView. As a reminder, this white line right here is that $30,000 level that we had been talking about reaching up to and touching before seeing a pullback. And you can see we actually got 3 touch points on that $30,000 level, and we are now currently seeing that pullback happen. So I zoomed in just to give us a better visual here. On the right side of my screen, I've got my volume indicator, and this red line we've talked about numerous times before. That's your POC line, which is your point of control. That point of control line indicates where the most volume is being traded. Now, if that line is below you, that's good support. If that line is above you, that's good resistance. So knowing that and seeing that we are literally on that point of control line right now, this would be a good time to see maybe a little bit of a bounce here. Although I do expect to see this still pull back just a little bit farther. If you remember, we've got our FOMC meeting here coming up in a couple days where we should be expecting that 0.25 interest rate hike. Now, if I'm looking at a price point prediction going into that FOMC meeting on Wednesday, my personal projection, looking at what we see right here, we have this short-term support level. We've also got our 20-day moving average, which is this green line, and our point of control all right around in the same area. So my anticipation going into the FOMC meeting on Wednesday is that we'll probably be right around 27,500, and where we currently are at about 28,000. Now, with that being said, let's jump over into the range report provided by the team over at Genie.io. Now, before we actually jump into the range report, I'm just going to throw up a quick video in the top right corner for you that explains what the range report is, as well as how to get it for a 2-week free trial and 10% off the already low price of only $20 per month thereafter. So, getting into the actual report, the news and events section is chock full of new updates. Second biggest US bank failure, 5 things to know on Bitcoin this week. Jack Dorsey's nano Bitcoin mining chip heads to prototype, and plenty more. Remember that you can click on all of these links that bring you to the actual article, giving you a better overview of the macro picture of everything in the crypto space. Looking at the Bitcoin price ticker, you can see that we're currently sitting at $28,200. Now, as we check out the volatility forecast, opportunity zone, and relative value, a couple things jump out at me. For starters, we have a pretty decent range within the forecast. You can see, like on our first day, it's almost a $10,000 gap, $11,000 gap for our next day, $10,000 gap. So we have a wide forecast. However, it does look fairly stagnant. We do have some wiggle room, which will be interesting to see what happens around the FOMC meeting. And, I'm also interested to see how much this report will update over the next day or two. So something that we'll definitely be checking back in on. Now let's keep sliding down. We just were in TradingView, so we're not going to spend time on our candles. If we look at the hourly RSI, you can see we are in that underbought territory, looking for a possible move to the upside. Now your daily RSI over 30 days didn't quite make it down to that 30 line and has just slowly been creeping back up and kind of hanging out in that middle territory, currently sitting at 55. If we look down at the Bitcoin MACD, you can see over here on about April 17th is when we had the bearish cross, and we've just seen that pullback ever since. We are just about to possibly see a pullback. However, I do want to warn you that this doesn't necessarily have to cross. That could easily just bounce off your signal line and continue to the downside. Now, if we look at our stochastic over 30 days, we are just about into that overbought territory. This would definitely like some time to cool off and be able to kind of reset and kind of reestablish itself. Checking out the average price over 30 days, if I zoom out and hover over the average price, you can see that we've been putting in lower highs and lower lows over the course of this 30-day period. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out through the month of May as well. Make sure that you are sticking with us and staying up to date with the Genie range report. The month of May should be interesting. Many of you, if you've been in the crypto space for a while, have probably heard the saying sell in May and go away. The summertime is typically a pretty slow time within the crypto space. You know, most folks are out enjoying, spending money, doing other things, you know, not worrying about crypto. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm eager to see what May will bring us this year. In all honesty, sell in May and go away would actually line up pretty well with where we stand with expected interest rate hikes, debt ceiling. You know, there's so many things in the macro picture that are just screaming immense pullback within crypto. But yet, on the other hand, we also have, you know, banks closing and defaulting and things of that nature, which in turn are making Bitcoin move higher in price. So, you know, there's a lot of macro contradictions around that are very interesting, and I'm very eager to see them play out. Anywho, let's keep this train on the tracks. Bitcoin on balance volume over 30 days. Now, we've talked about this before. If we were able to see past 30 days on this, and if you have followed along at Be Crypto Savvy longer than the 30 days, you would know that this has been getting stacked and stacked, you know, longer than just what we can see here. And, you know, volume is such a critical piece of the puzzle that we can't just ignore it. Volume and supply and demand, you know, are your basics. Looking at your average directional movement index, you can see that we are at 25, which is giving us the very beginning of a trend reading, or the end, since how we have been pulling back. If you don't know what this indicator is, anything at 25 or above is the beginning reading of the trend strength. This indicator won't tell you which direction that trend is going. It only indicates that there is a trend strength that it is picking up. Looking at the Fibonacci retracement, again, I do still think that we have a little bit more of a pullback to come. I think that we could probably come closer down to that 618 line. Looking at our candles with Hikaki, last solid confirmation we got was that bear confirmation way back on March 26th, and the most recent is a soft bear confirmation that we just got today. Looking at the Kopot curve, we have curled around and are headed back up towards that zero line. It will be interesting to see if we bounce around it like we did back here, or if we just absolutely plow through it like here. So two very different outcomes based on which one of those would happen. Looking at historical, we've got over a 90% accuracy rate on this range report. Now, also just a quick reminder on this report, since we are at the end of the video, the team over at Genie.io currently have Bitcoin and Ethereum within this report, but very soon they are going to be releasing several more top tier coins that will be included within this report, as well as more indicators and exchange rating. And one I am very much looking forward to is currently this range report updates every 24 hours. But the team over at Genie.io are working on a fast twitch model that would release and update every 6 hours, which would be awesome. Very much looking forward to all those updates from the Genie team. As always, if you got anything of value from this video, go ahead and smash that like button and make sure you catch up with us here at Be Crypto Savvy, and we'll catch you on the next video. See you then.
Like, comment, and subscribe, yeah.